Everyone, welcome to another lesson on Yeats. Today we're going to be discussing a bit more on what we had um touched upon in the first lesson. Now, I hope that everyone has done their task because it will help you open up your mind and also perhaps have a better understanding of how to go about things, especially if you have an exam on Yeats or any of his poems. Uh, Before I get into that, I also just wanted to say that if you have done your task, you can email me, as I said in the description, and also if I haven't responded to your email, then please feel free to drop a comment and let me know, because your email may have landed in the spam folder or something like that. Okay, so in 1867, when Yeats was only two, his family moved to London from Ireland. Now, despite the fact that his family had moved, Yeats spent more of his boyhood with his grandparents in Ireland only, and uh, and and yeah. So, like for example, for um, excuse me because I'm nervous. Okay, but basically, so Yeats would of course often go back to Sligo, where his mom's parents were, for vacations and stuff like that, because they had a big estate, etc., etc. And so this country, its scenery, folklore, and supernatural legends colored Yeats' work from the setting of, and that is visible in the settings of many of his poems. Which is why, when you say the world's full of magical things, patiently waiting for your senses to grow sharper, then perhaps it comes from the perspective where, Yeats himself has lived in a place, like Ireland, where there are big abandoned castles and there's mountains and rainbows and lakes and ponds, stuff like that. Now, his family did move back to Dublin in 1880, but by then Yeats must have been, I think so, 25 or something like that. So that's when his family moved back to Dublin. But now also, when you're talking about the fact that he would spend a lot of his time in Sligo with his grandparents, you need to understand that that may have created a conflict in Yeats's mind, because of the fact that your parents tend to treat you differently versus your grandparents, right? Grandparents have Usually grandparents have this soft corner for their grandchildren versus parents who are perhaps a bit strict, because it's like, if I've made this, eat this. If I've said this, do this. Versus grandparents who are like, no, but I'll go an extra mile for you. So that kind of upbringing may have had an impact on his views of the world too, because from one side, you're constantly getting that support or whatever, that no, it's not okay to scream on you. No, I'll cook another dish for you. Versus, this is what I've cooked, eat. Um, so when you're talking about the whole thing about what we discussed in our last video, that there's a conflict, and he's able to register that conflict in the world. He's only able to register that conflict in the world because perhaps he himself has experienced that conflict in his upbringing too. uh, then okay then when After his family moved back to Dublin, he attended high school there in 1883, at the Metropolitan School of Art in Dublin, where the most important part of his education was in meeting other poets and artists. Um, Again, coming back to the quote that we had for the task in our last video. Um, when you're saying the world's full of magical things patiently waiting for your senses to grow sharper, You must also consider that before that, Yeats may have not been as exposed to other artists and other poets and stuff like that, right? So when he's writing or when he's doing anything, his assumption was, oh my god, see what amazing stuff have I created? Because yes, the London Society of Art is is big, but at the same time, uh, going to a school where he had like-minded people would have made him realize, oh, you know, like they're more like me, and perhaps even better than me, crazier than me, that way. So again, just trying to refer back to the quote we had for the task. The world's full of magical things, patiently waiting for your senses to grow sharper. Because for a thinker like Yeats, who was questioning everything despite belonging to a family that had really religious roots, right? Big estate, had name in the religious history, stuff like that, was somebody who never rebelled against religion. But yeah, he had his thoughts. For him to eventually, at that age, find that peace that, no, the more people like me, the more people who are perhaps even a step ahead, more conflicted than I am in my head. And then, meanwhile, Yeats was beginning to write his first publication, uh, uh, two brief lyrics of which appeared in the Dublin University Review in 1885. Now, that is a thing that I'll try to cover in one of the lessons that will come forth. But now for Yeats, as somebody who was, thinking and writing and trying to write, etc., etc., for him to have had that would also have been another, okay, the world's full of magical things patiently waiting for my senses to grow sharper moment. Because now he's connected with more people. He has experienced the life of London, yes, but he's also been raised in this land that's almost magical, right? Ireland, and the beautiful terrains and everything over there. And now, having seen those, because if you compare it to the rest of the world, even Switzerland, Ireland tends to be one of those landscapes, right? That's, Game of Thrones was set in, a part of it was set in Ireland, because, the landscape that you find there is landscape that you will never find anywhere else in the world. So, for him to have had that exposure, the whole thing about, okay, there's this mysticism in nature and all of that stuff, and then having met like-minded people, and now finally his work is being recognized to a point where his work is being published in the Dublin University's journal. All of that sort of perhaps had built up to his belief in the fact that yes, magic exists. Because as someone who was thinking so much to have been born in a family where they were still following organized religion to that level that they were like, no, but you can't question it, because that's how sacred religion is at the end of the day. And then for him to have experienced people and met people who were also raising questions like him, so that's perhaps how his view of that magic was formed or created in his head.